Mixtures and chromatography. Mixtures are easily separated, not like compounds. Mixtures in chemistry are just like mixtures in baking. There are a lot of separate things all mixed together. There are no chemical bonds between the different parts of a mixture, unlike in compounds. The parts of a mixture can be either elements or compounds, and they can be separated out by physical methods like filtration, crystallization, simple distillation, fractional distillation, and chromatography. A physical method is one that doesn't involve a chemical reaction, so it does not form any new substances. Air is a mixture of gases, mainly nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and argon. Crude oil is a mixture of different length hydrocarbon molecules. The properties of a mixture are just a mixture of the properties of the separate parts. The chemical properties of a substance are not affected by it being part of a mixture. Let's look at an example. Let's have a look at the diagram of iron powder, gray, and sulfur powder, yellow. A mixture of iron powder and sulfur powder will show the properties of both iron and sulfur. It will contain gray magnetic bits of iron and very bright yellow bits of sulfur. One method of separating substances is through chromatography. You will need to know how to do paper chromatography. Let's have a look at how to do this. 1. Draw a line with pencil near the bottom of a sheet of filter paper. Pencil marks are insoluble, so it won't dissolve in the solvent. 2. Add a spot of ink to the line and place the sheet in a beaker of solvent. You can use water as the solvent. 3. The use depends on what is being tested. Some compounds dissolve well in water, but sometimes different solvents like ethanol are needed. 4. Ensure that the ink is not touching the solvent. You don't want it to dissolve into it. 5. Place a lid on top of the container to stop the solvent from evaporating. 6. The solvent seeps up the paper, carrying the ink with it. 7. Each different dye in the ink will move up the paper at different rate, so the dyes will separate out. Each dye should then form a spot in a different place, one spot per dye in the ink. 8. If any of the dyes in the ink are insoluble in the solvent you've used, they will stay on the baseline. 9. When the solvent has nearly reached the top of the paper, take the paper out of the beaker and leave it to dry. 10. The end result is a pattern of spots, which is called a chromatogram.